Hello and welcome to this crochet tutorial on how to make this yo-yo bag. The yo-yo bag has doubled handles that are sturdy and strong and a top row that will add strength so that it doesn't stretch open. Our decorative design here is a touch of macrame. You'll notice here that we have a black bottom which is doubled yarn so that you have a nice, firm, sturdy bottom. Come join me as we make this, the yo-yo bag, together. Let's get started. The materials and tools that we will be using to make this yo-yo purse: pair of scissors, a large-eye tapestry needle, a Susan Bates size G7 4.5 millimeter crochet hook from Red Heart Super Saver, Gray Heather, Red Heart Baby Sport. It's white with a light sparkle woven into it. We have a Red Heart Super Saver in black. I don't have the band. And I'm having a new yarn I'm introducing. This is from Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. It's super soft, super savings. This color is called Red Tweed. I love it because it has the little black in it, and being right next to that black, it's going to make those little red and black pop. Let's get started. I left my camera on the wide angled lenses because I'm going to show you, we're going to start with the very bottom of the purse. I want you to double layer, or two strands of yarn. So we're going to use the outside one and the center pull one. So go ahead and pull both of those out and let's get started. For the bottom of our purse, the hook size that we will be using is an I9 5.5 millimeter hook. So with our two strands of yarn, let's place a slip knot on our hook. And we're going to chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now the first chain that is complete past our hook will be the one we're going to skip. In our next chain, we're going to place a single crochet. Single crochet the rest of the row down, so you will have a total of 8 single crochets. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And if yours curls like mine did, all you got to do is pull on it a little. It'll be okay. At the end, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And through the double loops on here, we're going to do 8 single crochets across, chain 1 and turn. Continue doing this for a total of 31 rows. please pause your video, and after you do that, you may want to listen to some music or watch another YouTube video as you do this, but please come back. We'll see you then. After you completed your 31 rows, do not chain at the end, and we're going to go take these 2 strands and use our tapestry needle to weave them in. So that way we don't have to weave them in later. So I'm going to turn mine so that the wrong side of my single crochets are showing. And then I'm going to go through, probably about 5 single crochets on that back row here. I'm going to pull it through just so that that knot will go ahead and disappear. Then on the way back, you want to go over the top of one of your yarns, part of your stitch coming down, go over the top of that and go under the rest and then pull it through. Because if you go through the same hole, it will all come out. Okay, so here we are at the end of the row. We don't want to leave it there, so go over one and go through about 4 of them. Pull it in. Stretch it out so that it stays even, and then cut it close to your stitching. Okay, do the same thing for the other side, and then we're going to get started with our gray yarn and our 4.50 millimeter crochet hook. So to begin, we're going to place a slip knot on our hook. We only need a tail of about 4 inches. Okay, now before we actually get started, I want to show you on my sample here, our yo-yos actually cover about 4 stitches. So from this edge right here, we can count over 1, 2, 3, and here's number 4. Okay, so even though we did 31 rows, we're still going to need 32 stitches to go from one end to the other. So at our corner, we're going to be needing extra stitches. Okay, so we're going to be starting in one corner and going all the way across to the other corner, and then you'll notice that on our sides we have 8 stitches, and that'll cover for 2 yo-yos. All right, so this gives us an idea of what we're actually doing when we create our purse here. So we're going to start right here in our corner. Okay, so we're going to start with a standing double crochet. So take it, wrap it around, and go into that first end stitch. Pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, and yarn over through the last 2. Okay, so on this row, we're going to try to increase it by 1 so that we have a total of 32 stitches going across to the other side. So at this particular corner, I'm going to add 1 stitch. That'll be my increase for this side going this way. Now every row for a single crochet, we want to place in 1 double crochet. So here's 1 row, here's our next row, and when you look at your purse, you'll be able to see it better even though mine is in black on camera. You can see each one of these rows and you can place 1 double crochet in each one of those rows. All right, so continue all the way down till you get here. Double check your count that you have 32 stitches. If you get ahead of me, we're going to put 8 stitches here. And then this one will put 2 stitches here and start counting down 32 again. But otherwise, I'll meet you at the end of this row and make sure you have 32 stitches across and 8 stitches down. So let me give you a close-up of my 32 stitches that I did along the side. Okay, now we're going to do the 8. So here is my first. Now remember, as we go up, this purse is going to create that corner. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so now to make this turn, I'm going to go ahead and into that right here. It's a little snug. Okay, let's pick up. We need to pick up 2 stitches here. There we go. So here's number 1. Okay, so make sure that you have 32 and 8 and 32 and 8 because our multiples are on 4. Okay, so we have 1 starting our next way down. Here's 2. Here's 3. And so on. So keep on going. I'll meet you here at the end of the row. Woo-hoo! Made it to the end. I know how you feel. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch into that first one. Okay, chain 2 to go up. Then we're going to go ahead and do a double crochet all the way around. All right, make sure you have 32, 8, 32, and 8. It would be advised that you do count as you go around to make sure that you don't add too many stitches. Now, in this case, if you choose to use the chain 2 as a double crochet, make sure that you count that in there. If not, go ahead and add another stitch, and that'll make that chain 2 go behind your work. So let's go ahead and do another row, and I'll meet you at the end. Please pause your video. So at the end of our row, we're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain stitch and chain 2 again. Now you'll notice that it is starting to cup up, which is what we want. All right, so you can see how the nice pattern is already emerging on our handbag. So what I would like for you to do is 4 more rows of the gray. So we'll have a total of 6 rows, and that way we can go ahead and then get started on our yo-yos. So have a total of 6 gray rows. Go ahead and stop. Do not cut your yarn, and I'll meet you there. Please pause your video, find some music interesting that you would like to watch, or a movie that'll help keep you busy. See you then. At the end of those 4 rows that we did, we should have a total of 6 rows. Make sure that you slip stitch into your first chain 2. Also, count your stitches to make sure that you have 8, 32, 8, and 32. All right? At this time, if you choose, you can go ahead and finish it off, cut your yarn, and we'll start at a location on this row after we add our 2 rows of yo-yos. That is your option. Whatever you add, it will be covered by the yo-yos. So the next thing we're going to be doing, I will be adding the red. So the first set will be red, the second set will be red. Let's get ready. Place a slip knot on your hook and let's begin. So with a slip knot on our hook, let's go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. This will act as part of our yo-yo in the center. Now I'd like for you to place your thumb on top of that 3rd chain and then chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to slip stitch back into that first chain of the 4 that we made. Okay, so this is what we have. A little cluster of everything here. So next, slip stitch through the chain 3, the very first 3, okay, then turn your work, and if you have your tail, bring it, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to bring it over to the right side. Now carefully dig around the chain 4 and find the center of that chain. So into the chain, we're going to place 3 double crochets. This is going to be 1/4 of the yo-yo. So here's 1, and slide it over, 2, and you'll notice that I'm holding the ring with my finger and thumb as I place these stitches, and I find it's easier to hold on to it that way. Okay, so after our 3rd one, I'd like for you to take your loop and make it longer. Let's go ahead and set this down. And with our bag this far, I'd like for you to turn it to the section that has the 8 double crochet across. What we're going to be doing is we're going to skip over the first 2, and then in between the 3rd and the 2nd one, we're going to be placing our yo-yo. So to do that, you need to turn your bag basically upside down. Okay, so here we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So right here's number 1, number 2. So right at the top of the stitch, in between the 2, I'd like for you to pick up just a small section of stitching there. Let me bring it up closer so you can see it in the camera. We're not doing a post, we're just picking up a little bit of that stitch. Then with the loop, make the right side facing you. With that loop, bring it through and then tighten it up. Okay, we want our right side facing us constantly. So after we've tightened that loop up, not too tight, just tighten enough so it'll look like it's supposed to be there. Okay, now we're going to put 3 double crochet into that ring again. There's 1. You see how it holds it in place right there? Here's 2, and here's 3. Okay, so let's show you what you have so far. Okay, so you'll notice that as our yo-yo stretches over the 3 stitches, it's actually stopping right here where our first stitch is. And then when you see this one, it's going to stretch over 2 stitches and right here. Okay, so our yo-yo will actually cover 4 stitches. On this corner or this side section of 8 stitches, we're going to have 2 yo-yos. So let's continue on to make our second half of the yo-yo. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Place your thumb and finger over that last chain 3, and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to find that we're going to keep repeating this way. Then we're going to slip stitch into that first of the chain 4, and then slip stitch through the 3. Here's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so in order to keep our yarn in the correct place, bring up your loop just a little bit and take your yarn and go around and over so that it comes up on the bottom. And then pivot your work. It seems cumbersome at first, but once you get the routine down, you'll be just fine. So now we're going to find the center of our chain 4 again. Sometimes it takes a little bit of digging. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. And then make your loop a little bit longer. Okay, so we're going to come over here and we're going to skip 4 double crochets. Now remember, I told you the second one was going to stop after 2 double crochets. Well, this time we're going to skip 4. So here we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here, after our 4th one, before the 5th one there, we're going to insert our hook and pick up just a little bit, not a post, just a little bit of that stitching. Place your loop back onto your hook and pull it through. And then snug it up just a little bit. Okay, here's our double crochets and our chain up here, our ring chain. Then 3 double crochets into the chain, or into the ring of the chain. There's 2 and 3. Okay, and so this is what we have so far. let's move on so we can start going down this side. And I think once you get it going, I think you're going to find that it's pretty simple to do for this row. So let's chain 3. Place your thumb on that third chain, then chain 4. Slip stitch into that first of the 4 and slip stitch into each of the 3 chains. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and we need to bring our yarn over. So you can also leave your hook in there if you feel comfortable with it. Bring it under your chains. Okay, then pivot your work. Find the center of your ring. 3 double crochets into the ring. Leave a little loop. All right. Now this is where we're going to be going around a corner. So right here, where we're in between these 2, so we're going to count this one as 1, 2. We're going to go around the corner, 3 and 4. So we're going to pick up our next one right here. Snug it up a little, and then 3 double crochets into our ring. 1, 2, and 3. Now the row back, when we finish all the way around, is going to be super simple. I'm going to show you one more time, and then I'm going to have you pause your video, and then I'm going to show you how to come all the way back, because I know you're going to go ahead and finish this all by yourself. So let me show you one more time. You ready? Chain 3, pinch the top of that chain 3, then chain 4, slip stitch into the first of the chain 4, slip stitch into the 3 chains, okay, then bring your yarn around, and if you're like me, you're probably going to have to pull some more out. Okay, then turn your work. Make sure everything's still laying flat. Find the center of your chain 4, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, leave a long chain or long loop and come back here. Okay, and we stopped in between these 2. So this is number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oops, I dropped it. Okay, and then pull that loop through. 3 double crochets, and we're ready to start our next one. So let me show you what we have so far. Now, even though that this is loose and floppy, that's okay. Our next row, we will be tying them down so all of our yo-yos will be flat against our bag. So as you turn and look here, okay, this is what we have so far. Okay, I'm going to encourage you to continue all the way around, down the side, until you get back here to the beginning. So please pause your video, and I'll meet you there. Now, if we look at the bottom, you'll see that we have this side that is not finished. This is our beginning and our stopping. So it looks like we have a little ruffled edge all the way around. So what I have, because we were supposed to have 32 stitches across here, so we need 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yo-yos. And then here on the side, we got 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So let's continue on with the siding right here. I'm going to bring my camera up closer. So place your hook back onto your loop and let's get started. Now this is going to be the fun part. So what we'd like for you to do is to go right here and slip stitch into that chain 1, and then we're going to fold it back. All right, now the tail that we have here, that's going to go through the bag into the inside. Now this row, you're going to like what we're going to do. It's super simple. So into our chain 4 ring, 3 double crochets, all right. Now I would like for you to lay it flat, and where we placed our stitch down here on the bottom, okay, if you can fold it back and look straight up, okay, and get it to the right height. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3 rows. So where we place that stitch at right here, we want to come up. We're going to find that it's going to go right here. So make a loop on your yo-yo here and go through. We're not doing posts. We're just going to go through to pick up like 2 stitches, maybe part of that chain. And then take your loop, bring it through, and then 3 double crochets, all right. With those 3 double crochets, fan down. That's going to put us right here in between our 2 yo-yos. Okay, so we're going to lay it flat here, and we're going to do just over the red section a single crochet. Now notice how I'm trying to snug it up. So that way we have our first circle formed. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, now if you're asking how come we didn't single crochet here, it's because when we get to the end of this row, that's where our single crochet is going to be placed at. So let's continue on. I hope you find that this row is easier compared to the other row because we're not twisting and turning and everything else. So 3 double crochet, okay, make your loop longer. Now I find it easier just to find our first one and go up. So I want to go right here. Now if you need to count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, just like we have below. Pull that loop through and into the chain 4 ring, 3 double crochets. We don't do any chains, don't do anything special, just 3 double crochets. All right, and then in between, right here, single crochet. Okay, remember to tighten your stitches a little bit so that everything's going to be about the same height. So here is what we have so far. I'm going to show you one more time how to do this, and then I'm going to have you pause your video. Okay, 3 double crochets into the ring, okay, make your loop longer, bend your yo-yo over, find where you attached it at, go straight up, 3 rows of your purse, put your loop on, bring it through, 3 double crochets into the ring, and then between the 2 yo-yos, single crochet, making sure to adjust your tension so you have a nice pretty single crochet. And here we go. So continue all the way around till you get to here, and I'll meet you there. Please pause your video. So I've come all the way around. I'm here at the beginning of the row. Single crochet between the 2 yo-yos. Then slip stitch so we can keep that appearance of the single crochet. We're going to go ahead and cut our yarn, so place a tail 6, 8, 10 inches long. It's going to go inside our purse anyway. Okay, so right here I'm going to bring my hook and pull it all back. So we have the 2 of them here on the inside. So let me show you what I have so far. We have 8 across the front and 2 on the side. If you count, you have 8, 16, 17, 18. We have a total of 20 yo-yos all the way around. Let's move on to the next step. When I thought of designing this bag in the first place, I didn't want to make it so you had to reach all the way down inside of your handbag to have to do these yo-yos. So you'll notice here that we have 2 rows and we need a total of 3 rows. So if you feel comfortable enough, I would encourage you to do 1 more row for the 3. That would be for our second set of red. Another set of 3 for the white. So that would be 3, 4, or more rows, whatever you feel comfortable with. So I'm going to encourage you to add more gray to your purse, and then we're going to continue on with the yo-yos. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you when you've completed that. So please pause your video and add your rows of double crochet. Make sure you count that you have the correct number. You have 32 in the front, 32 in the back, 8 and 8. So make sure you keep your numbers accurate. I'll see you in a few minutes. The amount of rows that I added that would be enough was 5, because we already had the 2. But if we count 1, 2, 3, this will be for 1 yo-yo. 1, 2, 3. This is for our last row of yo-yos. And then 1 extra, which will make it high enough so that we can continue on with our stitching. Now I left a loop here, but I am going to cut mine so that way I don't have to worry about the yarn. Now if you want, you can always take your yarn and stick it inside your purse, but I'm choosing not to, because this first row of yo-yos usually there's a lot of spinning and turning, and you don't need the additional weight. So let's hook up with our second row. I'm going to use red again, and we're going to start and do the bottom half of the yo-yos, and I'm going to show you how to find where you need to start at. So please place a slip knot on your hook and pause your video. Now to determine where you started at once before, they all look the same. So let's go on to the inside and find our red tails that we pulled through to the back. Okay, don't cut these yet, don't do anything with them yet. We'll do that after we finish all of our yo-yo rows. So we know we started right here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be connecting to this double crochet that went under this stitch, and I'll show you how to start that. So let's begin with our slip knot on the hook. Chain 3, place your thumb over that third one, and then chain 4. Slip stitch into the first. Now in case you're wondering, we are going to be doing the exact same thing. I'm just going to show you how to attach it to the handbag and the previous row of yo-yos. So we're going to slip stitch through the 3, okay, take our tail over and then turn your work, find the center of your chain 4 and place 3 double crochets in there. 1, 2, and 3. And as before, make your loop a little longer. So to remind myself where my last one was, I can see where my tails went in, but I want to show you for the video. Here's where my tails went in. So I'm going to be starting on, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to go to the one on the right. So we're going to turn our work. We're going to place our hook under the yo-yo. We're not going to go into the gray. Let me see if I can get a little closer. We're just going to go under that yo-yo. And we're going to take our loop and pull it under the yo-yo. And then tighten your loop up. Not too tight, but you want to make it tight enough so it doesn't look like it's too loose. Then 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is what we have so far. You see how it goes under the previous row of yo-yo? Then we're going to do the chain 3, and then chain 4, and slip stitch into that first of the chain 4, slip stitch into the 3 chains, going back to that other yo-yo, okay, and then we take our yarn and go under our hook and turn our work. Make sure you have the right side facing up. Find the center of the chain 4, 3 double crochet, okay, leave your tail. Okay, and we're going to pivot our work again. See, my pulled out followed me again. Okay, make sure everybody's flat and in the place that they're supposed to be in. Looks like I twisted it too many times. Let's see what happened here. There we go. Oops. There we go. Yes, even I make mistakes. Okay, we have our longer tail. So we're going to go under the next one, snug it up just a little, and pull it, oops, pull it under the yo-yo, and then 3 double crochets into that chain 4 ring. Now before you move on, make sure that your, let's see, that's 2. Make sure that your yo-yo is facing the right side up. Okay, so yes, this is the right side, and you can see how it pulled over and pulled over. So that is the correct way. All right, I think we'll do this one more time, and I think you'll probably have it pretty well down pat. And then I'll let you continue on until you get all the way around. And then basically, if you remember the row going back over the top, it was pretty simple. I'll show you anyway, but that's what we're going to do on top of it going back. So here we chain 3, place your thumb on the top of the chain 3, then chain 4, slip stitch into the first of the 4 chains, slip stitch through 3, okay, the yarn goes under your hook and under your work, and then turn your work around. Find the center of your chain 4, 3 double crochets, 2, and 3. Make a nice little tail. Okay, and go under the yo-yo. Put your hook through the loop, pull it through, snug it up a little, and then immediately do 3 double crochets back into the same chain 4 ring. Okay, so let me show you what I have so far. They don't look like they're going to lay flat, but when we put the top row on and it anchors down into the upper stitch, it'll be just fine. So continue on all the way around till you get to this last one, and when you finish that, I'll show you how to tie into that next row, and we'll go back the other direction. So please pause your video, and I'll see you in a few minutes. So as before, here we are at the end of the row. So we'll go ahead and slip stitch into that first chain. Then, oops, I snagged one. Then, coming back, we'll do 3 double crochet, okay, so look down here below where we were at before, and then go up 1, 2 to the 3rd row, and then pick up part of that stitch, not a post. Oops. Let me take this off. There we go. And pull it through. And then 3 double crochets back into the chain 4 ring. And then in between our 2 yo-yos, single crochet. Make sure you snug everybody up so that we have a nice, pretty looking stitch. Okay, let's do it one more time, and then you can go ahead and complete it all the way around. So we're going to do 3 double crochets, okay, pull up a loop, and then find your stitch here below and go up 1, 2, 3, and also count over 1, 2, 3, 4. Place your hook in and pick up your loop. 3 double crochet again into the same ring. And then single crochet in between those 2 yo-yos. All right, so this is what we have so far. It's looking good. Continue all the way around until you get to the last one. We'll single crochet, slip stitch up to the next one, and finish off, and we'll start on our new color. Please pause your video. See you in a few minutes. So at the end of our last yo-yo, we have our 3 double crochets. Go ahead and single crochet in between the 2 yo-yos, and then slip stitch onto the next. And then we're going to go ahead and cut our yarn, pull it through. Okay, and then we'll take both of these and put them on the inside. So let's move on. The next color that I am going to be using is white. So we'll be doing the same thing we did here. Chain 3, chain 4, slip stitch into the first of the chain 4, slip stitch through the 3 chains, 3 double crochets, and then pick up under the yo-yo and continue on. So go ahead and start off with the white, if that's the same color you're going to be using as I am, and I'll meet you when you complete all of your white yo-yo, and then we will add up more on our bag. See you then. Please pause your video. So starting the white row, this is what it'll start to look like, and then remember when you come back you'll have the complete yo-yo. So this is the next color that we're working on. So we've added on our last row of yo-yos. Mine was in white. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 8 rows of gray. And I'll meet you after the 8 rows. Please pause your video. After our 8 rows, this is what our bag looks like. Before we move on, we want to weave in all of our loose ends and come down here to where we pulled through for our yo-yos. I'm encouraging you to place a square knot in here and then take the excess and weave it directly behind the center of the yo-yo, so that way it will not be seen. After you do that, we're going to start our last row, and I'm using black. I wanted to show you quickly on how I wove mine right here in the center of these yo-yos. Let's move on to the black. So with a slip knot on our hook, we're going to find the side of our bag, which is the 8 stitches here. So we're going to come down. Now on the inside of our bag, you notice I still got my thumb in place where it's supposed to be at. I like for you to do a front post double crochet. And to start off with a standing front post double crochet with your loop on your hook, wrap your yarn over, go under and behind and come up front of your post, pull up a loop, yarn over through the 2, remember my finger's still here, and yarn over through the other 2. That starts us off as a standing double crochet. Then we're going to do standing or front post double crochets all the way around with the back side facing us. Now some of the suggestions I'm going to make is as you go around to pull it up as high as you can without stretching the gray double crochet. This will make it easier. We're going to do one more row on the same double crochet, and I'll show you what to do in just a minute. So please pause your video and go all the way around, and I'll meet you here at the beginning of this row. At the end of the row, we're going to slip stitch into that first double crochet. And we're going to cut our yarn and pull it through. Pull both your tails tight. Now flip your bag over so that you have the front side facing you. And this is where we stopped off at. So what we're going to do now is with a slip knot on our hook, we're going to start off with the same standing double crochet. And you see how the front post from the back side is right here. Well, we're going to do the lower half of the same double crochet. So with your finger on your loop, yarn over, we're going to pick up that front post down at the bottom section, draw up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And we're going to do front post double crochet on the lower half of the same double crochet that we used for the back side front post double crochet. Do that all the way around, finish it off with a slip knot. Do not cut your yarn, and I'll meet you there. Please pause your video. So when you're done, you will see the gray in the center. You'll see the black on the inside, and you'll see the black on the outside of our bag. Okay, so with our slip knot, we're going to close it shut. We have 3 tails. Here's 1 and the 2 from the back. Go ahead and bring them in and lay them in the center. These are your tails. Okay, then let's pull our slip knot out a little bit. I'd like for you to see how you can see right through. You want to make sure you get the double crochet on the front to match the double crochet on the back. And then what we're going to do is a single crochet between all of those, but we want the gray to show, so we're going to go under the 2 black double crochets, pull up a loop. You see how you can still see the gray peeking through? That's what you want. And finish your single crochet. Move over to the next one, pick up the double crochet, go over the gray and into the next one, and make sure that it's the straight one, okay, so that you can see that you only have 1. And you can see I'm going over my tails at the same time. And snug up your stitches and then complete your single crochet. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We finished this one, so we're going to go here, go under the black, over the gray, and under the black, and make sure that you have 1 that you've gone over. Pull up a loop, snug it up, and complete your single crochet. You will have that gray peeking through. That's what we want. I'm going to give this a nice little pretty look. Okay, I'm going to show you one more time. I finished here. Let's move over to the next one. So we're going to go under the double crochet in between the 2, go over the gray and under the other double crochet on the other side. Draw up a loop. Always snug up. Not tight, but snug up. And then complete your single crochet. Go ahead and do that all the way around. When you get back here, finish it off with a slip stitch and weave it in. And we're done with this part. We're going to do the straps next. To make one yo-yo, we're going to need a tail about 8 to 10 inches long to begin with, and then place a slip knot on it. Place that on your hook. Let's chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Place your finger on the top, 3rd chain, and then chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Slip stitch into the first chain of the 4. Now slip stitch in the 3 beginning chains. Pivot your work. I'm right-handed, so I'm pivoting it towards my left. Find the center of your hole for the chain 4. Make sure you don't have just one, but there's 2 on each side. Double crochet and pick up your tail at the same time, so that your tail is now in the center of our yo-yo. Continue around with 11 more double crochets. Here's 2, 3. Continue on until you have made a total of 12 double crochets. After the 12 double crochets are made, you need to slip stitch up here into the top of the first chain that we made with the slip knot. Try to pick up at least 2 of the chain. That way it won't stretch out. Okay, and then snug it up. And then leave yourself a long tail, about 18 inches, and pull that through. And this is what we have. Continue to make 3 more for a total of 4 separate yo-yos. Let's start making our strap. I encourage you to leave about a 10-12-inch tail before we begin. So with a slip knot on our hook, please chain 50. I'm going to ask you to pause your video. When you get to 50, we'll start again. Now, after we've done our 50, chain 2 more, and where your thumb is, place your first double crochet. And we are going to double crochet in each of the 50 chains all the way to the end here. Please pause your video. At the end of your 50 double crochets, do not cut your yarn. Let's go ahead and add our black yarn. Tighten up that double crochet chain and chain 2. Turn your work. You can tell I didn't pull it out ahead of time. Sometimes I forget on camera. All right, remember what we did around the top of the bag? Yes, we're gonna do it again. This will make a really nice, solid, and sturdy strap for our handbag. So we're going to be doing front post double crochets. Now if you'd like, you can take the black and go along, or you can leave it here, and when we join the 2 together, we can put it in between in the middle like we did before. So let's move our 2 yarns out of the way and go under that first front post. And drop our yarn. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Continue till you get all the way down to the end of the row here, and I'll meet you there. Before we move on to the next side, please pull your front posts all the way to the end, because when we flip it, we're going to do the same as we did on the purse. We're going to do a front post. Well, this one you can't see because of the chain, but here's our front post from the other side, and we're going to do a front post right here. So let's do we're just going to chain 1 this time. That'll give us a pull back this way. Now we're going to skip the chain because that's going to get sewn and hidden under our yo-yo. So let's do our front post. On this whole row all the way to the end. When you get to the end, leave a tail of the black and finish it off, and I'll show you how to start the gray. You see a lot of strings, don't you? Well, let's pull the one that's still attached to the skein. We're going to pull this gray one here. So what I'd like for you to do is put your, let's see, that's the chain 1, so go through the first double crochet on both sides. Take your gray that goes to your skein, not your long tail. I've done it, trust me. And then pull it through, and we're going to chain 1. We're going to straighten everybody out here. Then in the exact same space, do a single crochet. And the same as like what we did before. We're going to come in here and go in between the 2 stitches here and go over that gray and in between the other 2 stitches, and we're going to do another single crochet. You see how it's going to kind of line up, not 100% exact. Let's take that out. I know I showed you a wrong thing. Let's go ahead and put it in the stitch of the double crochet and not go in between. I think that'll give it more of a, there we go. It'll look more like the stitch now, because when you pulled up all that other stuff, it just didn't really look right. So go ahead and do each one of them. Make sure you pick up one on each side because you don't want to miss one, and continue all the way down to the end. When you stop and finish, leave yourself like an 18-inch tail. After you complete this, make a second one. I wanted to show you the placement of where these straps are going to go. Now you'll see here is our corner. So this is our corner ones. Okay, so here's the first row of this row. So go over to the second one and go straight up, and that's where we're going to sew our handle. Count over 1, 2, 3, 4, and right here on that 5th one, go straight up, and that's where we're going to sew our second one. What I've done is I brought it down to the first full row of double crochets, and that's going to be where the bottom of our strap is. We're going to go ahead and take it and sew it and sew it and sew it all the way up to here. Sew it through there, come down and go across. Finish it off. Do the same thing with the gray on the other side. Next is adding of the yo-yo, and you want the yo-yo to start and be even with the black line of the top row of the purse. So we're going to place it over our strap like so, and then we're going to do a little outline whip stitch. Sometimes it would be good just to try and pick up where each stitch is at. As you bring it down, be careful not to stretch the double crochets, so that way even if it is a little puffy, it'll be okay. So continue all the way around, bring it to the inside and finish off your yarn. Do both sides, and I'll meet you in just a second. We're going to add a decorative finish. Now for the little decorative center. Here I have 2 4 feet longs. Basically take your arms and stretch it all the way across and cut 2 of them. Then come up, here's the center, come up from the center, kind of grab some fabric in there, and then come out at that first row right here, the bottom of that first row. And then pull it through. Okay, and do the same thing for the other side. So we want to come up and then come out. And find the center. Take your needle off and find the center of both of your yarns. All right. Now lean it like in a 45, like you're going towards the bottom corner right here. And we're going to place a square knot about an inch below. So yarn over the top, bring it up through the center, and see how this one has the loop on the top? Bring the other one that's under and go over that one. We're doing like a little macrame here with yarn. Okay, so we have our little square knot there. Let's do the same thing for the other side. I'm hoping that you enjoyed making this purse with me. I've had this idea in my head for a long time. It's so nice to see when it finally comes to making it. Okay, so we have our square knot here on both sides. Now we're going to take and put a square knot here in the center. So that it'll drop. Kind of make it so that each ones are the same. And then we're going to make another square knot kind of in the middle between the two. See, macrame doesn't have to be for cording and baskets and all this other stuff. It could be for purses too. Whoops. See, I have a little bit of looseness there, so I need to go back before I tighten this up and make sure that all my strands are the same length. There. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Okay. It looks like it needs to be a little bit shorter. There we go. All right, let's bring them all together. We're going to tie one big square knot here in the middle. And make sure your design is center. Pull it square. And then what you have left over hanging down, just go ahead and cut it. Now with this extra, if you would like, you can add it here, or you can just leave it the way it is. Now another thing that I would suggest, here I have my little bead on my rabbit pincushion, one of my little guys that I have in my videos a lot. I made him back in, I think it was 1986, when these little country things were popular. It's been a great pincushion. So here I have a bead. This one, my suggestion is you can add beads to this. You can add beads to each one of these parts of the yo-yos. Just sew them down. So now I don't have my other handle on here, but what I wanted to show you was on the two that are on the corner, you're going to have to train your bag to fold in. So we have this one here and this one here. So we want to come up to both of them. See, the other one is right here. And you want to fold it so it'll get into the habit of being folded. Another thing that we can do, if you want to, depending on if you feel that you need a full opening, you can always take and place a small stitch right here at the top, and that'll help pull it in as well. So at the end of my yo-yo purse bag, I hope that you've enjoyed this process of making it. I hope to see you again sometime. Please come back. I'd enjoyed having you. Never know what I can come up with. Till next time. Bye-bye.